Okay, welcome to part two of Seven Nights for Today. Because my battery was so low, I ended up cutting the recording and I had to go get a charger, so I apologize about it, but this is clearly going to be a two-part video, so let's go ahead and continue. We were basically doing my second arena fight for the day against Jam Bam. Now, they do have a Gipper ranks, so that's going to be kind of annoying. Yeah, it looks like I might actually lose this. This is not good at all. Well, there goes Ace. He's gonna finish me off. Yep. See, after a while, you're gonna start facing a bunch of like the top teams, and yeah, today we're doing a lot of losing in arena. Let's go ahead and do fight number three for arena versus Urine. Yeah, I said it. But yeah, so this is part two of Seven Nights today because I had a nice little blunder. I hope you're okay with that. At least you get to see the realities of making videos and stuff like that. And the reason I didn't want to just, you know, uh, not do the first video at all and just do this as my one video is because on the last video I also did my guild raid or yeah, guild war for the day, and because of that I can't go back and do it again. So I pretty much don't have a choice but to have the video split because you only get 2 attacks per day in guild war. Now we're doing much better this time. Rudy doesn't really do much against me these days. I'm never really intimidated of a Rudy. Now, if I was playing, you know, Gipperang or Chris, then I would be intimidated of Rudy because he would basically auto kill with that move right there. It lowers buff duration by 3 turns, I believe. So that would just auto kill an invincible Chris or anyone that has the auto revive mechanic that makes them invincible. So I'm not taking nothing away from Rudy. He's really good. It's just against my team, he doesn't do a whole lot. So right now he has a ton of defense. So it's going to be a while before I kill him, unfortunately. But he will die. I mean, he's literally the best tank in the game. Oh, now we got him paralyzed. By the way, there are certain accessories you can equip that can add status elements as normal attacks. This is actually a new thing that Seven Nights added recently. It really comes in handy. They have, you know, electrify, stun. There's also life. I don't know if they do life. So I think life steal are just gems, but a lot of status elements can come from your weapons and accessories. I mean, not weapons, accessories. Now we're playing against Dascourge. Or unless the H is silent, then it's Tascourge. Tascourge. I don't know. Either way, let's see if we can get some more wins. Because right now, we're kind of, I think we've lost twice so far. We're like 2-2, if I'm not mistaken. We're either 2-2 or 1-2. Alright, now the good thing right now about killing Cloud, I keep calling him Cloudwalker, but Sun Wukong, is that because no one else died, he auto revives by himself with no other clones, which makes him easier to fight. The worst kind of fights are when you've killed everybody else on their team and he's the last one, and then you kill him, and then there's 5 of them, and then it becomes a really tough fight. That actually happened in one of my fights yesterday, where I think it was Wukong and one other person left, and I killed Wukong, and boom, there were 4 of them, plus the one other hero that was left, and I ended up losing that. It was really bad. There goes Dellins, try to silence everyone. Trying to. Alright, they got rid of Wukong completely. Yeah, all these teams that you're seeing in Platinum Mode right now, these are all tier teams. These are all good teams. Like, these are heroes that you're seeing right now that, you should consider using too, if you have them, high enough levels. Right now, I'm at the point where I typically don't fight with anyone that's less than level 40, which is the max you can be. If they're like level 38 or lower, I typically don't use them. I've debated using some level 38 heroes in certain teams, but I don't know. I just feel more comfortable with everyone being maxed. Now, just because your hero is not level 30 or level 40 doesn't mean that they can't be in arena and do well. There are a lot of level 38 and 34 teams that beat me too. So, at that point, it's just a matter of equipping the good equipments like Seven Knight items, Dragon items, awakening your items. That's a new mechanic as well. Basically, it just adds more stats to an existing ability and or existing equipment, and it just makes your hero much better. That was Beedom that just did his ultimate, or inactive skill, I should say. And the reason I keep calling Wukong Cloudwalker is because in Hero's Charge, um, Wukong is in that game as well, but his sub name is Cloudwalker, so everyone just calls him Cloudwalker there. That's a problem when names transfer from one game to another. It can be a little bit difficult to track. But it looks like we're about to win this pretty soon. Unfortunately, Black Rose just did a move that would debuff the invincibility, but he did it before Gipperang's first death, which means Gipperang's going to be able to just reign free until he just croaks over. So right now I'm just in survival mode. Just making sure that Gipperang doesn't kill me before he dies. I'm pretty sure I won, but it's always scary because he's just so good. There's my Black Rose. I noticed a pattern. My Yu Shin is always stunned. Like every time I'm looking at the end of the fight, now he just woke up. But he always gets stunned, it seems. Like I think that I only have Black Rose left, and all of a sudden there's Yu Shin in the background with his head spinning. It's so funny. And there we go. We got another win, so congrats. I think we were 3-2 in these set of 5 fights. I think that was 5. Yeah, it was. Anytime you see that extra screen pop up, it means you've done your 5 for the day or for the time being. I can spin I think it's a ruby to continue fighting, but it's just not worth it. I'm not in a hurry to try to push for any kind of ranking. So we're gonna do one more thing while I'm here. We're gonna complete quest apparently. I did a weekly quest here. Battle in Arena 50 times for the week, and you get an Asgard Ore. These ores are actually used to power up your weapons, your 6-star weapons. Basically, it's just a free power up. It's awesome. And then, of course, since I've done all my weekly stuff, I get 40 keys. Yay. And now we can actually do what I meant to do. So, last night, me and the guild was kind of talking a little bit about raid. So, I think that I want to actually talk about it a little bit while we're here. Why not? We just finished a raid. I think this was one of yesterday's raids. A level 40 dragon. One of our guildmates was number 1. Some random person was number 2, and I was number 3 in damage dealing. Basically, if you deal number 1 damage, you get the number 1 prize, and then there's a number 2 prize, a number 3 prize, and anyone beyond number 3 gets a participation reward. Now, thankfully, they did an update to where the rewards that you get from raids are so much better. The only downside is the fact that you only get to do 10 fights a day for raiding. So I think that kind of makes up for it anyway, because raiding can kind of take a long time. Now, I'm not going to show you an entire raid fight. I'm not going to do it because that would probably take an extra 15-20 minutes of just repetitive movements, and it would just be boring. So we're not going to do that. What we are going to do is talk about who you should use. Now, this game kind of holds your hand a little bit, and I think that's okay in an MMO because there's so much information and so much to learn that you need that. The only time I don't like it when they hold your hand is in like your regular one-player games, like your your console RPGs like Final Fantasy stuff like that. I don't need those kind of games to hold my hand. I just need you to give me the basics and let me learn the rest. But in an MMO, it's good to have a strat guide here and there because there's just so much. So anyway, we're gonna go over what they consider a good strat guide for beating a raid boss. So basically, as you can tell, it gives you the enemy's info. So when you're raiding, you're always fighting the dragon. His damage attribute is magic damage, and there are 5 target AoE attacks. Um, the reason that's important to know is because you need teams to kind of counteract what he does. So knowing that he does magic damage is important, and 5 target attacks can be important depending on what you're trying to do. His status effects are he stuns and he burns. That's also important, especially the stunning, really. And his attack strategy is he reduces magic damage and is immune. Okay, I'm sorry. So basically, our attack strategy it says you need to reduce magic damage and you need to be immune to stun. So to give an example on the right side with recommended heroes. So we'll start with the front where it shows a picture of Shane. We're going to tap it. So basically, you could either use Shane, Dellins, or Jupy. That's Jupy right here. She's not really popular anywhere else. You will not see her in arena. Um, I think she's good in Castle Rush as well, but if you have Shane, or if you have Jam, which a lot of people don't have her at level 40, I don't even have her at 40. But if you have Jam, she's probably the best at Raid and what is it called, Castle Rush. But Jam is super rare and you can't get her anymore, at least at the moment. Um, Jupy has the ability to increase her massively increase lethal attack and crit rate for 3 turns. Additionally, the skill becomes an active skill during that turn. So you use this ability, she kind of like crouches down and aims. And then when you do this ability again, it deals a crap ton of damage. So she's really, really good. If you don't have her, if you're like me and you have Dellins, because I have my Dellins at level 40, he's really good for dealing, being the beater of the team. I think he is my beater in one of my teams because you basically get 2 teams, but we'll talk about that later. So he's a good beater, and then of course you have Shane, who's also a really good beater as well, which I do have. So those are kind of like your heroes that you'd want to use if you want to have a beater. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is on the back row, or actually technically it'll be on the front. Basically, the way your formation should be is you should have 1 in the back and 4 in the front. The one in the back is going to be your beater, and the 4 in the front is more your support people. And you'll kind of see what I mean by support. So on the top, you have Saeed, or Sieg. Basically, what's the only thing that's important about him is his passive ability. Protects all allies from being stunned for 6 turns. We talked about this in a previous video, as a matter of fact. But yeah, you want him in one of your teams to prevent stun. And of course, he does deal some good damage as well. So, 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, there are other heroes you can use as well. You can use Charon, who would probably be my number 2 choice for heroes that are easily obtainable. You basically, with him, it's the same thing. Protects all allies from being stunned for 6 turns. So you definitely want to use him in your second team. Remember, you get 2 teams in a raid. So put Sieg in one team, put Charon in the other. Now they also recommend Spike. I don't recommend Spike. Spike does the same. He protects all allies from debuffs in general for 2 turns. So he'll prevent the stun and he'll also prevent the burn, but the burn doesn't really matter. Let's just be honest. But the fact that he only protects your people for 2 turns means that it's just not necessary. I honestly don't think you should use Spike at all. Use Charon, use Sieg, and there's one other person that I would recommend if you happen to have him. I'm only going to say this because I have him and he's actually in one of my teams. So let's look at my team here. He's not on this team. Let me go back. He's on my second team. There he is. Or she. Ramlethal. Or Ramlethal. I'm not exactly sure how it's supposed to be pronounced, but either way. This hero is good because she protects all allies from being stunned for 5 turns. So it's not as good as Sieg or Charon as far as, the protection, but it's a lot better than Spike. Basically, Rambathal was a hero that came out for the Guilty Gear promotion they were doing for a week. Basically, if you spent 300 rubies, you got to get at least one Guilty Gear hero and a bunch of other heroes. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you got two. Um, and I was able to get 3 of her, so I was able to get her at level 32. I'm sorry, I got 2 of her, which means I was able to get her at level 32. So, and I'm happy to use her. I use her because I don't have Sieg, and she's a lot better than Spike. Um, so yeah, if you don't have either Charon or Sieg, and you happen to have a Ramlethal, now if you don't have her right now, unfortunately, I don't think there's a way you can get her. If there is, please let me know because I want to get more of her and some of the other Guilty Gear heroes because a lot of them are really good. But yeah, right. If you have her, I would if you let's say if you have Sieg, Charon, and Ramlethal, I would say do Sieg on one team and Ramlethal on the other, just because you'll be able to deal more damage in general. Whereas Charon is more of a healer, so you'll be doing less damage. And to be perfectly honest, you don't need Charon as a healer since you have other heroes that are good healers as well, or better healers in my opinion. So, but if you don't have Ramlethal, then use Sieg on one team and use Charon on the other. Alright, so let's go back to their strategy guide. Alright, so they have a picture of Eileen. The reason that she's recommended is because she's someone that has a passive ability of increasing the physical attack of all allies by 60%. So basically, any kind of raid boss, you want someone that can, up your damage. So she's good if you have her. Um, Basically, her passive ability will, and then not only will the passive ability increase all of your people's physicals, one of her active skills does a lot of damage too. Now, you're not going to be able to do the electrify thing. He's immune to all status effects, so you're not going to be able to electrify, stun, or anything like that on him. So she's a good recommendation if you have her. They also recommend Lena, and I 100% agree with her. With this. And of course, you want a lot of these heroes because they're passive. These are all support heroes in terms of raids. So basically, decreases the attack and defense of all enemies by 25%. So the raid boss will do you less damage, and you'll deal him more damage. And she also has the ability to increase everyone's damage output by 50% for 2 turns. So more damage dealing against a raid boss. That's exactly what you want. And she's a healer. That's the reason why I said instead of running Charon, you could run Ramlethal if you have Ramlethal, because you can put Lena in your team, and she can do the healing for you. So you don't need 2 healers, really. Um, and the last strat that they give you is someone like Valikia. The reason she's good is because of her passive ability. Notice a trend here. Reduces magic damage received by all allies by 50%. Since you saw that the raid boss only does magic damage, you just basically protect against it. And that's why you have her. She protects your team. Um, and it's not for X amount of turns, it's just until you're done. So she's really, really good to have too. Now, they also have another recommendation other than Valikia. You also have Espada. Also reduces magic damage received by all allies by 50%. So basically, you put Espada on one team and you put Valikia on the other. And that'll keep your team alive longer. So that's why you want them in both of your teams. So now that you've seen kind of the basic idea of how you should build your team, let me tell you how I built mine, because obviously my heroes are going to be a bit different. And I'll give you some kind of honorable mentions. In my team 1, now the formation that ideally you should be using is the defensive one, the one on the bottom right. Um, the reason I'm using balanced instead is because of because of who I'm using. Because in this team, I'm actually using 2 people that I wanted to have as beaters. So I'm gonna have 30% attack for 2 people instead of 75% for one. Because if I were to go to defense, I would have 75% attack for Shane and that would still be good. As a matter of fact, I think I am just going to do that. Actually, that would just be better. So let me just do that now. We're going to change it. And look, Shane's already in the back. So basically, she's going to be dealing 75% damage every time she does her ultimate. So whenever I do my play and raids, I'll just be spamming her ultimates over and over and over. So anyway, as you can tell, in Team 1, Shane is the beater. You have Eileen, increasing physical damage. Charon, protecting me from stun for 6 turns. Espada. Now, as you can tell, some of these costumes are going to be different. In this game, you have the default outfits that they wear, or you can spend game currency like rubies and topaz to give them different outfits. It is good to buy your heroes different outfits because any outfit that you buy them will increase their stats by a little bit. Now, if you were to buy like different costumes, it won't change the number. Like each costume has the same value as far as what kind of boost they give you. The only thing that's different is the default. The default doesn't give you a boost, but every other costume will give you their same boost. So at that point, it's just a matter of what outfit you like the most. And when I bought this, it was the outfit that I liked the most. There are other outfits that I like that she has, but I don't feel like spending more and more rubies to give her different accessories. I'm not that big on clothing. But basically, she will reduce magic damage, so that's why I have her. And I have Ace. Now, the reason Ace is in this team is because he has. Well, first off, he increases all damage inflicted on enemies by 50%, so he increases damage output. And decreases defense by 50%, which means you're still dealing more damage. If the damage received is higher than the current HP, then he survives. So basically, he stays alive longer. But yeah, you want him for his passive ability and Lunar Slash. It's 300% physical damage on one enemy, which is a lot. Additionally, piercing will take effect, increase the damage received by the enemy by 80% for 2 turns. So when you're doing your raid fight, well, when I'm doing my raid fight with this team, the first thing that I do is Ace's ability, because that means everybody else's damage output is going to be increased by a lot. Afterwards, they're going to be spamming Shane's ability by doing 250% damage on one enemy. And then while she's cooling off, then I might do either Eileen's ability or I might do Espada's ability. Sometimes I keep it on auto because on auto, I mean they're pretty smart. They won't do everything perfectly, but it'll be good enough. Um, and a lot of times I actually put it on auto because I like to multitask. So while I'm like washing dishes or making something to eat, I'll kind of put it on raid, let it play because it does take a while, and then come back to it. So that's my first team. My second team, Downs is the beater. Now, not only is he a beater, one thing I didn't mention earlier, I believe, is the fact that increases the damage of all allies by 50%. So all your people are going to be dealing more damage, including him. And then, of course, decreasing skill cooldown by 7 seconds is really good because that means you're going to be able to spam his active abilities a lot. I run Alice, who was not mentioned at all either earlier. Alright, so this is why I have Alice. Additionally, increase all damage inflicted on enemies by 40%. So basically, she kind of had one of Ace's abilities, except for his 40% instead of 50%. But yeah, so basically, she's going to be increasing her damage output. She's also going to be healing. She's actually going to be a healer in this team. And when she heals, she gets rid of status elements. So when, I have the burn status on me, the burn goes away when she heals. She can also auto-resurrect, and or not auto-resurrect, but she can cast resurrection on somebody. And when she does it, it makes that person stronger. It gives them a Gipperang effect where they increase their crit and all that stuff. But it's only for 2 turns, but still, that's really strong. So that's more damage you're going to be dealing. So she's really, really good as far as rating as well, that they don't have recommended. And then, like I mentioned earlier, Ramlethal. And again, I'm running her mostly because I don't have Sieg at 6 stars right now. She's going to basically be the one that prevents the stun for 5 turns, which is still good enough. And then when I'm not immune to stun and he stuns most of my people, as long as Alice is not stunned, she can just heal everybody and remove the stun. So she has a lot of good purposes. Now you also have Valikia, who of course has a different outfit, and she's going to be reducing magic damage by 50%. So you got to stay alive longer. And I'm also running Rachel, and the reason I'm running Rachel is one is because I don't have certain other heroes I'd rather use, but another reason is basically no, not that. I'm sorry. There we go. With this active skill, it decreases the enemy's damage and defense by 80% for 2 turns. So that is really good too, as far as increasing your damage output for the rest of your team for a while. But what I am gonna do, because there is one person that I'm not using that I think will be better. Now, typically I don't like doing two of this type of hero, but I just think that overall I'm gonna be dealing more damage. I'm gonna use Lena, and yes, it's a different outfit than the default. I'm gonna take Rachel out for her, just because she's a higher level, and she's just going to be able to, because basically I'm basically going to be spamming him for the most part, so I don't really care about using other heroes too much. So she's going to be upping offense, and then Domes is going to be doing all the damage. So we're going to make that little switch. But if you have Rachel, Rachel's not a bad add either, just because one of her active skills will help the rest of your party. But I'm going to use Lena, and I'm not, like I said, I don't like having two healers, but what's going to eventually happen is once I get Sieg, I'm probably going to take out Charon for Sieg, and maybe switch Aline, not Aline, but yeah, take Aline out and probably put in Alina, so she'll be the healer on this team. Another honorable mention that I'm going to say was Jam. Now, I don't think I have her. Actually, I might have her. Let's just double check. If I don't have her, we'll find her. Let's see. I'll go to my teams here. Do I have Jam? I don't think I got her, but if I did, I only got one, maybe two. Oh, I don't have her. Okay, I'll go look on the codex. Now, if you didn't do the Guilty Gear, if you weren't playing during the Guilty Gear time, you probably don't have her. But I'm gonna show it to you for people who do have her. She's gonna be under collaboration. They did two of them. They did Blaze Blue, which is what the heroes you see right now, and they also did Guilty Gear. To be honest, the Blaze Blue characters, they're okay, but about the only one that's actually good in my opinion is Ragna. But that's a different video later. But basically, we're looking under Guilty Gear and we're looking for Jam. I never ended up getting her, unfortunately. I wish I had. But basically, this is why she's good. Well, first and foremost, she is immune, which is fine. Um, but she decreases skill cooldown by 10 seconds with a basic attack. That is strong because she's going to be able to do active skills very often. In Raid and Castle Rush, in my personal opinion, this is the best hero in the game. Unfortunately, if you did not spend thousands of rubies, you probably don't have her at level 40. And unfortunately, I don't have her at all. Now, that's just the start of why she's good. So basically, you're going to do this first. It's 350% magic damage on one enemy, which is a lot of damage. Crit hit will be applied, so she's going to be dealing, again, a lot of damage. Then you increase magic attack by 50% for 2 turns, which means she's just going to be just fantastic. After that, you cast this skill, which does 250% magic damage on one enemy, and then crit hit will still be applied. She just deals so much damage that it's just unreal. It is unheard of. Like, if I was the kind of person that could afford it, I would have spent money on getting tons of rubies when these came out to make sure that I had enough to make her level 40. Unfortunately, I was not lucky enough to get her. But yeah, if you have her, and if you have her at level 40 especially, she is the absolute best beater in the game for Raid and for Castle Rush. You must use her. I cannot stress that any further. Don't get me wrong, Shane is fantastic, Dellens is fantastic, but I honestly do not think it gets any better than Jam at all. So that's why I'm kind of like bragging about her. She's just that good. I also did see a YouTube video a long time ago on the Seven Knights Facebook page where someone actually beat a level 99 raid boss mostly using jam. Like, it was just ridiculous. And this is him beating a level 99 by himself, by the way. So obviously he's one of the tiers that's one of the best that has all the goods and, you know, all that jazz. But yeah, that's just ridiculous. So yeah, if you have jam, if you're ever level 40, you should be using it. And if not, I don't know what's wrong with you. All right, so basically that's going to end the video. I just wanted to kind of talk about Raid a little bit to kind of give you an idea of who you should consider using. And then, of course, we did a little bit of Guild War and a little bit of Arena. Unfortunately, I ended up cutting the video to two videos because I kind of had a blunder, but that's fine. I should have had my phone plugged in while I was, recording in the beginning, but I thought I would be good enough with 35% battery, and I was wrong. Well, either way, thanks for watching the video, and you guys take it easy. Also, we're not going to be doing Hearthstone today, so all the Hearthstone viewers, I do apologize. Um, I just kind of want to relax the rest of the day and just kind of take a break from Hearthstone. So probably on Monday sometime, hopefully, I'll post a Hearthstone video for you guys to see. All right, I'll take it easy.